Hello, welcome to Barry's Economics. I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of a cargo cult? So a cargo cult, it's one of the maddest stories I think I've ever heard, but it's so true to the human experience. During the Second World War, the American army used the islands of the South Pacific to refuel. They didn't announce it to the islanders, they just turned up one day, built airfields, and suddenly these huge airplanes started landing on the islands, and the islanders just couldn't understand it. They couldn't believe their eyes. And they watched the soldiers perform rituals, marching in formation, talking into radios. And then, one day, the cargo just started arriving from the sky. And these planes were packed with miraculous goods: food, medicine, tents, radios, Coca-Cola. To the islanders, it looked like magic. But then, the war ended and the soldiers left. So the islanders tried to bring the cargo back. They started walking in formation in the same way that the army did. They built bamboo runways, wooden control towers. Literally every single thing that they'd seen the soldiers do, they copied. They even made coconut headsets. There's got to be a way to make the cargo land again. We saw them do it. They performed these rituals and they kind of did this thing on the runways like this. And this is it. Years later, when people returned, they saw these cults of people like going like this on massive bamboo runways, and they put two and two together. It's like, oh, they're performing the rituals of 1940s air traffic in hope that the planes would miraculously come back. Now, obviously, this didn't work. They copied the appearance of everything that they'd seen, but none of the invisible systems behind it. The global supply chains. They didn't have the industry, they didn't have the logistics. All they had was the appearance. They imitated the rituals of prosperity without understanding any of its causes. And that's what we've done in modern economics. We've made a cargo cult of growth.
The central mission of this new government will be to restore economic growth.
Growth is still around 1%, and that's
We had the fastest growing economy in the G7.
0.9% growth, that's not enough. France needs a really growing economy.
What I will say is that growth is the number one priority of this government.
I have three priorities for our economy: growth, growth, and growth.
Everyone's still preaching growth, like it's the dominant mantra. It makes you wonder why. Like, why is that? Well, we saw that industrial expansion once made nations rich. So we keep copying those rituals. More consumption, more production, higher GDP, as if the prosperity plane is just gonna land any day now. The reason the same thing isn't going to work is we don't live in the same land or time because we've got nowhere else to grow out into. You see, growth worked. It actually worked when we lived in what the economist Boulding calls the Cowboy Economy, which is a world that behaves as if the planet is infinite, like endless resources, endless land, endless room for growth. But we've crossed that frontier now. Now, we live on Spaceship Earth, a closed system with finite air, water, and minerals. Everything that we have is on board. It's been logged. It's on the manifest. There is no room for growth. And yet economists still think we're running this infinite system. Why are they living in the past? Why are they doing that? Well, status quo bias, which I've made a video about here. It's our deep human tendency to assume what has worked in the past will keep working now. There's also sunk cost. Like, a lot of economists have studied for years all of the old models and they just believe they're true because they've studied them. My God, have they spent so much time on it. And we know what that's like, sunk cost. If you've waited for a bus for 20 minutes, you're not going to leave that bus stop. You've invested 20 minutes of your time to catch that bus.
Listen, let me say what happened when I went back to Oxford, right? I went back to Oxford, we had the lecture on interest rates. And I was, at that point, one of the most successful interest rate traders in the world. And we had, at that point, incorrectly predicted that interest rates would go back up 10 years in a row. And I went to him and said, why do you think we're so bad at predicting interest rates? This is an Oxford macroeconomics professor. He said, no, you're wrong. We always knew rates would stay zero for 10 years. This is in 2017. That's just categorically wrong. I was quite shocked, and I tried to explain to him that was wrong. I said, okay, I'm going to send you the data. I went back, I sent him the data. He said, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. We have been wrong. We have mispredicted interest rates. We have mispredicted the strength of the broad economy for 10 years. That was it. He wasn't interested in talking. These guys have been wrong on the big economic issue of our time for 10 years in a row. This guy hadn't even noticed. These guys are so bad, they are unable to recognize that they are bad. I cannot explain to you how serious this situation is. Listen, I know I do patronize them, but the truth is they're terrible.
Economists are still worshipping the old idols of GDP growth. Basically, their policy is bamboo airstrips. They're just hoping the planes of prosperity will come back. Oh, please, but the cargo is not coming. I can't stress it enough. It's already here. And our job now is not to grow it, but to share it, to repair it, to sustain it. And that's the shift from cowboys chasing horizons to astronauts learning how to live together on one fragile ship with finite resources. I'll say it again, one fragile ship with finite resources. So please, UK government, economists, stop praying to 19th century gods that no longer exist and use your power to redistribute the finite resources that are on our planet. Make the billionaires share. And the most efficient way to do that is a wealth tax. Do you want a bow on it? End.